Hey, good evening, everybody. It is absolutely my pleasure to be with you. What I really wish is that we could have a conversation right now. I wish that we could be face to face and talk about something truly remarkable. I play funny games with my mind. We were just listening to Glenn Miller, and he was playing In the Mood. Folks, I am in the mood for an absolute financial breakthrough. I'm in the mood to help you have an absolute financial breakthrough. Those of you who have been around the direct selling industry, I'm in the mood to help you recapitalize your knowledge and skills. And those who have always opted out of that industry, we propose to show you a technology that can help you do what you do for your purpose at a higher and better way. I welcome you to Lev AI. What exactly is Lev AI? That stands for Leveraging Artificial Intelligence, a brand new company, a company that is positioning itself and has positioned itself to benefit from what will be the most dramatic cultural shift of our time. Think back, please, to the time when you saw your first computer, the first K Pro or Apple Macintosh, if you're as old as me. None of us knew back in 1982, 83, 84 that we would in fact be required to embrace computer technology. It really wasn't an option. The entire world was embracing. Had we not embraced as well, we would have been left behind. It wasn't a choice. Did we participate? It was simply a choice of did we just use the technology? That's what I did. What a mistake. Or did we become a conduit to other people's use? Given that we now know in hindsight it was inevitable, ultimately everyone would become computerized. What if you'd known in advance that was the case? Might you have acted differently? Might you have, in addition to using the technology, might you have been a conduit to someone else's use? Might you have been a catalyst in that which was destined to occur? Had you made that choice, the outcomes would have been much different, would they not? Ask Bill Gates, he can tell you. Ask the family of Stephen Jobs, they can tell you. Move the clock forward just a little bit. Do you remember the very first time you used a dial-up modem and you heard that fax tone coming through and you connected at 128 kps and then it took a really long time for anything to open? Little did any of us know that we didn't have any choice, that that was going to become a global requirement to participate in business and in fact in almost in life. Might we have behaved differently had we known in advance that every person would be required to adopt the technology or be left behind? I would have acted differently. Today, I'm more mature. Today, I have the benefit of that hindsight. Today, I will behave differently. Artificial intelligence will be the next iteration of what happened when computerization was thrust upon the entire society of the world, when online computing was thrust upon the entire society of the world. That same thing is happening as we speak. Welcome to the possibility to leverage AI as opposed to the tangible possibility of being victimized by it if one fails to embrace quickly enough and if one fails to embrace in the exact right ways. This is a chance for you. This is a chance for you to change the way your financial future plays out. It is that chance. Now, will we act upon it as individuals and harvest that moment? Well, we shall see as we go on. It's in our hands, it's in mine, it's in our hands to planet Earth, accessible artificial intelligence, not the convoluted, complicated situation that exists today, but accessible artificial intelligence for the masses, for the tens of millions, the hundreds of millions, and the billions who will be forced to adopt this technology as the world heads that way. And it will be a rapid escalation. I contemplate the fact that in order for us to have a true financial breakthrough, and I'm not sure what all of you want, I know some of you that are here tonight, and I know that some of you have a desire for a complete, total financial breakthrough. In order for that to happen, we must swim upstream against conventional wisdom. Conventional wisdom taught me that I should, quote, catch a wave. Bad idea. If we catch a wave, that means that we are acting upon something that someone else did. Someone else created that wave that we catch. That means that we are building upon a foundation created by another. The fortunes are reserved. The tremendous financial breakthroughs, they are reserved for those who create the wave that others catch in the future, who create the foundation that others build upon. Well, that's drawn me throughout my career to what I call the bottom left-hand corner of the graph, to the genesis, to the outset, to the beginning. There are all kinds of risks associated with that. Well, welcome to Lev AI. Here we operate under the umbrella in the family of companies of Terry LaCour. We operate in his ecosystem, one of the most skilled, influential, and affluent operators in not just network marketing, not home business, but business, period. Operating under his umbrella gives us confidence that proper capital is available, legal resources, accounting resources, distribution mechanisms, and so on. It's me incredible joy and pleasure to then also welcome the daily operations manager of the company, Blake Schrader, my son, who was just named president of the company. I could not make that higher because I don't own the company. Only Terry LaCour could make that higher. So why did he hire Blake? He hired Blake because Blake has not just 18 years of social commerce experience. He has an was raised in my home. He understands the legal complexities of our business. And Blake also understands it very well from the boots on the ground standpoint. He was general manager of Monavie Israel for a season. He was general manager of all of Europe for Monavie, a very large company at the time, and also Latin America. Blake's next assignment and success was when he became the CEO of Medical Marijuana Incorporated at a time when the end of the prohibition of cannabis was one of the most remarkable things happening on a global scale. He guided that transition, launched a company under the auspices of Medical Marijuana Incorporated called Canaway. Another tremendous success. Blake just completed his non-compete agreement, giving him the opportunity to now lead and guide this company under the protective umbrella of Terry LaCour. When I started talking about AI some months ago, I was not a little surprised. I was really surprised to find out that the conversation was already ongoing. People were talking about AI. They were talking about it on park benches and bus benches, in coach cabins and first class cabins. And I found out that they were talking about it in boardrooms, the most influential, most powerful companies in the world. Here we see Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, stating recently that AI, artificial intelligence, is more profound than fire or electricity or anything we've done in the past. That is a statement that deserves reviewing again. AI is more profound than fire or electricity or anything we've done in the past. This from one of the most brilliant and influential men in global business and the tech world. What does that mean to us? It means look over your shoulder. The greatest success that you, that I, that we have had was predicated and made possible by technology less profound than fire, less profound than electricity. We've never had a chance like this before, folks. We never have. This is a moment that will be remembered as the onset of computerization, as the onset of the online world, the onset and ultimate global acceptance and adherence to participation with artificial intelligence is one of those moments. And here we see the deepest mind of deep mind, Demis Hassabis, saying the difference here with AI is it's going to be 10 times bigger than the Industrial Revolution and maybe 10 times faster. Another amazing statement, 10 times bigger than the Industrial Revolution and maybe 10 times faster. That demands of me, at least, not sure what it demands of you, but it demands of me that I pay careful attention, that I look, but that I look quickly, such that I not allow too many of the grains of sand of opportunity to filter from the top of the glass to the bottom of the glass while I consider. Maybe 10 times faster. Let that thought penetrate a little bit as you determine with what degree of aggressiveness you should pursue this possibility. Folks, friends, AI shouldn't be feared. It should be embraced. It should be harnessed, and it should then be leveraged to the benefit of others. And if you are the conduit to those other people receiving that benefit, incredibly wonderful. 100%. What percentage of professional marketers do you suppose operate online? 100%. That is the same percentage of professional marketers who will soon use AI. That's an absolute. That's not a maybe. That is an absolute. That's an outsized percentage. Only a small percentage of the global population is a quote professional marketer. In the United States, only 7% of ordinary everyday folks have embraced and begun utilizing AI. And even those who utilize, they have a 38% increase in sales. What that means is they haven't learned how to leverage it. That should be 380 or 3,800. Welcome to Leverage AI. 80% of entrepreneurs using AI say it gives them a competitive advantage. Well, shortly, everyone will use AI. And so the competitive advantage will turn to those who learn how to leverage it to their benefit. Lev AI makes it simple for entrepreneurs to launch, market, and grow businesses. Music to my ears. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been my whole life. I've been launching, marketing, and growing businesses, it seems like, since I emerged from the womb. But now, finally, no expensive chief marketing officer, no agency or complicated tech skills required. In other words, it works for you, whoever you are, as a solopreneur, as a home based business operator, 10-man shop, anything that qualifies as small business. We address many problems. The AI world. Um, the artificial intelligence world has so much promise, but it has problems associated with it. Today, it's very complicated, it's convoluted. One application for CRM, customer relationship management, one application to build your social media presence, one application to create websites, and on it goes. Overall, a complex, costly, and fragmented group of marketing tools, all of which must come to be understood, all of which require subscriptions and costs. The result is, of course, widespread tech intimidation and burnout, poor lead generation and customer retention, and no clear guide on how to grow an audience. Those problems now fade into the past because there is a single solution to those myriad problems. It is Lev AI. Recognize there are 388 million small businesses in the world, and there are uniquenesses to each, but there are some things that are complete common grounds. They all want more customers. That demands they have an ability to create a never ending supply of candidates for the utilization of their product or service. They all want greater customer retention. They all want greater individual ticket items, larger sales per each transaction, and greater profitability. Having observed the process at work, I can say that this will not only make building and maintaining a candidate list easier, it will make it possible for so many for whom up until now it has seemed not possible. This can and will create confidence about what to say to each candidate or customer throughout the engagement process, removes barriers that make you feel stuck, and keeps you in front of your customers to maximize sales. One flash. This has a unique ability to keep you in front of your customers to maximize sales. And then it says removes the fear of failure. How might we remove the fear of failure? By engaging people in a process that allows them to stop experiencing failure. That is how we might remove the fear of failure. And you'll understand immediately upon your utilization. And I think even in advance of utilization, as you come to understand the project, you understand the various solutions contained in Lev AI, how and why that will work. As I indicated, there are a host of problems, and we seek to provide solutions to each of those problems. One problem I can describe or teach the best from my own life experience. I was there when the first social media networks were launched, and I have used them, but I haven't leveraged them. I didn't make a decision many years ago to grow intentionally a social media presence. In today's world, it's become evident that one can predict future results by looking at the amount of influence one has, and one can measure influence by measuring social media interactions and profiles. I've lived a fairly big life. I've had a lot of success, and I've been somewhat prominent in many ways over the course of my life and career. God's been especially kind to me. But I've never learned how to turn that into a 5 million or a 10 million person social network following. That's been an error on my part, an error perhaps on yours as well. The very moment that you begin utilizing these solutions, you will have in the background your digital twin. You'll have in the background the entire process scanning your contacts that have been imported to your CRM, customer relationship management device. It will then help you understand what their wants and needs are by doing a survey of their social media profiles. It will then create for you the invitation scripts, the comments, the content that is most likely to open their eyes, ears, and hearts to the possibility of the business message you'd like to deliver. I cite frequently that I believe that the net cost of utilizing this project, this product, this suite, will be less than zero for many people. And so, Randy, how can it be less than zero? If you are using a CRM software now, in all likelihood, you're paying twice as much for that software as our entire tool suite will cost. Therefore, the net cost of utilization is less than zero. And unique to this CRM, every time you do a simple screenshot import, immediately your digital twin, immediately your customized GPT. And why did I say customized GPT? Well, simple. It's because 700 million people in the world went to Chat GPT today and asked it for a solution or for an answer to a question. And what came back was to a degree effective, but it was entirely generic or vanilla information. It was not information that was specific to your enterprise. It wasn't specific to your teaching, your content, or the leaders whom you espouse. When we began importing contacts, we began immediately understanding what our candidate, what our current customer wants. And as opposed to trying to provide them with what we want, when we finally start providing them with what they want, we get different outcomes. This is magic. I remember about a month ago, maybe it was 5 weeks ago, I was meeting with one of the developers actually for the first time, and he asked me if I'd like to build a website. Yeah, I'd love to build a website. That sounds cool. But my technical ability is limited to turning on a phone. He said, no more, Randy, because we can teach your digital twin any information you want it to know. It can know everything you know, but it can also be loaded up with information that you don't own. And we'll illustrate. He flipped around his terminal, and in a matter of 7 clicks, click, 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 and a few lines of text, I had created a website which was instantly up and operating online on the World Wide Web. Another example of why I describe the fact that I believe the net cost of using this suite of tools will be less than zero, because things we used to spend money on will be inclusive in the subscription, which costs about a third of what any one of the individual components are currently costing you in all likelihood. This is a very, very important one for me. I was fortunate early in my career to be introduced to a leader who agreed with me, and his name was Nathan Ricks. And Nathan taught me some very, very critical lessons. And these are now Nathan's words, not mine. But in the business methodology he was teaching me, he said, Randy, there's no luck and there's no guesswork. There's a proved and predictable pattern of activities. If we do A, we'll get B. And if we do C, we'll get D. And if we don't, we won't. And I found out that in one respect, I am a little bit atypical. I don't do the same thing that so many others do in at least this respect. People refer to me frequently as a leader. I'll tell you what I am. I am perhaps the best follower you will ever encounter. I search and I seek and I look until I find people who are accomplishing what I want to accomplish. Then I find a person who's accomplishing what I want to accomplish and who's willing to teach me how to do it. Then I do exactly what I am taught. I don't look left. I don't look right. I don't look up. I don't look down. I follow the guidance that I am given. And only when it has become evident to me and to others that I have become more skillful and proficient at that which I was taught than was the teacher, only then do I break out and forge my own path. That is a process that will work for others. I said there's a proved and predictable pattern of activities, and I cited one of the problems is that so few people actually do it. So the question is why? It took me a long time to try to understand this, but I think I do understand it now with complete clarity. Most people who become entrepreneurs are becoming an entrepreneur having once been an employee. Most people are not entrepreneurial from the start. They are an employee. They find out the shoes don't fit well. They want more freedom. They want more flexibility. They want to choose their own hours. They want to choose what they are worth as opposed to having an employer choose it. And so they branch out, they venture into entrepreneurship. And when they do it, then they find, wow, one part of employment was convenient. And what is that part? It's that we get to be reactive as an employee to the demands, the desires of the employer. They tell us when to come to work. And so we show up at 8 if that's the time. They tell us when we can go home. And so we leave at 5 if that's the time. They tell us when to submit a certain report and to whom we shall submit it. They tell us what our targets are. They tell us what our quotas are. They teach us the managing processes and teach us how to report those processes. Suddenly we're in entrepreneurship, and we don't have an employer demanding we show up at 8. So do we get up and go to work at 8 or do we not? We don't have an employer requiring the reports. And so do we gather the information so we have the right data points so we can measure our business? See, I found that the transition between employment and entrepreneurship, between reactive and proactive, can be extraordinarily difficult, tedious, time consuming, and in fact, results in many people retreating and heading back into employment. Let that never happen to you. Utilizing our service, you'll begin receiving daily prompts from your personalized chat GPT. You'll get daily prompts from your virtual twin. You'll get daily prompts from me utilizing that same technology. You'll get daily prompts from your coach saying, remember that today the pattern of activities requires the following behaviors. You are due for behavior 3. If you've not done it yet, do it now. Here are the requirements again. Once upon completion, push send so that your coach knows. Wow, that's kind of magic, isn't it? The skill to do comes from the doing. That daily reminder, those little pokes, those little prompts will grant to many people who stand frozen behind the fear of transitioning from reactive to proactive, suddenly able to act. And when they act, that's when the magic occurs. Cicero said years and years ago that the skill to do comes from the doing. And so if one acts based upon the prompt, they are developing the skill. You know what else is happening? They're gathering knowledge. Because don't you suppose that each time you receive the prompt, this is what you should send now to your newest member. This is the content your newest member needs now. This is the next correct activity. You see, the time will come when you, like I, will use AI. We will use artificial intelligence to do things that we cannot do ourselves. We can't work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we can't be all over the world at once. We don't speak 150 languages. There will always be things that artificial intelligence does better than we do. But having followed the prompts, I will have gathered the knowledge and developed the skills. And then when a comment is made in an elevator and I've got 3 floors to be able to provoke the conversation that leads to the next conversation, I've been taught as a result of seeing what the prompts are. You see, it helps me act in advance of knowledge gathering and skill development. This might be the most important thing I can say in this session. Over the course of my career, newcomers have been required to gather knowledge, develop skills, and often refine character in advance of profitability. Utilizing the Lev AI solution, people will be able to gain profitability as they are gathering knowledge, gain profitability as they are developing skill, and gain profitability as they are refining character, ultimately making themselves eligible for complete breakthroughs. And now continuing along the thought of making this difficult transition from reactive to proactive, contemplate the monthly lead program. I've always hesitated. I've stayed away from lead generation simply because if a person spends money on a lead and it winds up not being great, that can lead to resentment. Certainly, I don't want that. But what if there was no added cost? Would it not be easier? Now we've got a middle ground. Reactive, the boss tells me what to do. Proactive, I tell myself what to do. In the middle, now I have a candidate who has asked for the information I have. Would it not be easier? Randy, I understand you have knowledge about. I would like to understand. Can you help me understand too? Is it not easier to say, of course, I'm happy to help? That's a lot easier, isn't it, than provoking the conversation? Hi, there's new information. You're not aware of it. I'd like to share it with you. I think it's of value. Can we talk? See, provoking the conversation requires a completely different set of skills than responding. This middle ground, I think, is literally a godsend for countless budding entrepreneurs. There's a lot to the Levi solution, but there's more we've talked about so far. Every plan includes your own AI twin, digital twin. And even though you are the subject of the digital cloning, you will have a hard time discerning yourself if you're looking at the two on a computer screen being broadcast, which is you and which is the digital twin. You won't be able to tell when they start speaking. You won't be able to tell by their mannerisms, by the way that they accentuate, by their smile, by their pauses for emphasis, however they act. The twin will do the same. You won't be able to tell. How will you know? When the twin starts speaking in Chinese and you don't speak Chinese, when the twin starts speaking in Tagalog and you've never been in the Philippines, when the twin starts speaking Hindi and you've never heard it before, that's when you'll know which one is the twin. And then imagine this, you can give it a script or you can simply ask your chat GPT to create one for you that is right for the candidate that you are interacting with. And your AI twin can speak fluently in 150 languages. Features and plans. Your AI video twin, your likeness, your voice, speaking your script flawlessly in 150 plus languages. And you can even use AI to generate your script. And folks, there is nothing this company offers that will cost more than $150. This is an absolute earth shaking improvement on how AI becomes accessible to lots of people instead of to only a few. A personalized AI writing assistant, writing posts and emails, creating engagement, growing your social media presence, multiple business presences. Why would that be necessary? Well, a lot of us have more than one thing to do. And so that will help you determine which package you should be acquiring, which is appropriate for you. My dialogue, if I'm an insurance salesman, is different with my insurance client and customer than than the dialogue I'm having with a team member if I'm growing a network marketing company, for example. Different profiles, very important. AI powered social growth and engagement. Once again, our future economic outcome can, in some respects, be predicted by measuring our influence, and our influence can be measured by our social media presence. Let it begin that we start changing it for the better the first hour this product becomes available, which, by the way, is something about 2 weeks from now. That's how close it is. A CRM, customer relationship management software, which does not just tell you about the person. It tells you all about the person. It's not just the data you imported. It is a complete scanning of their social media presences, and you know what the hot buttons are and the moment to reach out, how and when. And the beautiful thing is that your AI virtual assistant will prompt it, prompt it, prompt it. Before too long, you'll know intuitively how to do it. But between here and there, having that daily push, that daily prompt multiple times per day, that then will result in the skill to do coming from the doing. Instant web builder, as I've described, enhanced CRM with professional lead funnels linked to your site. And so people have asked me so for so many years, Randy, will you help me close my candidate? No. Why won't I? Because I don't want to be closed and you don't either. That means we're convincing someone to do what we want them to do when we want them to do it and spend the amount of money we want them to spend. It's not the business we're in, folks. We want to help people do what they want to do, how and when they want to do it in the most cost effective and efficient way. That is what it's about. And so we guide them through that proved and predictable pattern of activities, allowing each to arrive at his or her correct point of logical conclusion in the shortest possible period of time. This made so much easier by the fact that lead funnels are attached to your CRM. Searchable candidates, over 2 billion of them, granting to our newest member the opportunity to develop the skill as they gather knowledge. And now, folks, take a moment, take a deep breath, bang the gong, ring the bell, and shout it from the rooftops. Not everybody, but those who live at near the top of the plan will have your own interactive twin. I am almost giddy thinking about my candidates. Right after this session, I'm doing a Zoom with people in Taiwan. I don't speak English and they don't, I don't speak Chinese and they don't speak English. It's going to be hard. That's going to change so much for me when my virtual twin can be having those conversations on my behalf when it's 3 a.m. for me and it's the right time of day for them. Training the called it an avatar, the digital twin, and your entire library of thought leadership, coaching, and training, all available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, everywhere in the world, the best of you in 150 languages. Truly unmatched value. Just that last screen. Again, folks, bang the gong and ring the bell. You could not begin to touch just that for any place close to that $800 price. And you're going to be eliminating between $300 and $800 in discontinued, basically useless subscriptions. Because instead of having an app for the CRM, an app for all these various things, no, one gateway to all of these services. So, what exactly is the market opportunity? Depends a little bit on you. And my market opportunity is this. I've been involved in the direct selling industry for a lot of years. The number of people who are involved in that industry today is about the same as it was 40 years ago. The number of people who use computers today is not the same as it was 40 years ago, is it? It's dramatically different. The number of people who use the internet today is dramatically different than 40 or 50 years ago, isn't it? You see, we're now breaking out of whatever small market segment you operate in, and we're breaking into the global population, all of whom will be faced with the mandate to become conversant and effective in the utilization of AI. When you are the conduit to that use, then suddenly you break into the entire $556 billion gig economy, the 70 million freelancers in just the United States, the 30 million plus non-employer businesses just in the US, and put some kind of a multiplication factor on that for India, put a multiplication factor on that for China. What is the opportunity? Imagine again, back in 1979, 80, 81, 82, you saw that first computer. The opportunity is as though you are a conduit to the use of tens of millions of people of a technology that will be thrust upon them that they don't understand. Now, we can use this opportunity. We can benefit from it in two ways. We can simply use AI to grow our businesses and benefit our life, as I used computers and online resources when they became available. Or we can have a moment of clarity. The entire world will adopt AI. It will. If we are the conduit to that adoption, we'll get paid. So let's contemplate that for a moment. Acquisition bonuses. When someone acquires one of those product packages, 50, 100, $150, you'll receive a $50 first month commission for having been the conduit to their use of the product. That's one-time transaction bonus. It's a very, very high percentage. Understand this, Lev AI does not artificially reduce commissions by reducing the amount of money. Network marketing companies specifically have kind of played a game on the world for a long time. The dollar in is always diluted by 30 or 40%. The dollar in, $1,000. What goes into the compensation plan? 600 or 700. Then they cite the commission percentage based upon that diluted dollar. We don't do that. It's a cash-based compensation plan. We seek to meet your need. What is your need? If your need is you want to build the most effective real estate business you can, and you don't want to delve into the world of AI, except for that, fine. Become a consumer, a user of the product. Will help you do it, and it will help you. What if you are one who has gained notoriety as a result of some splash you made in the world? I have very, very close friends who won Dancing with the Stars one time. And so now they're known. People all over the world know their names, their face, their image. They're not interested in building teams, but they have become accustomed to leveraging their notoriety by attaching their imprimatur to various products and services. This is a perfect idea for them. 20% ongoing payment for everyone who buys the product as a result of their introduction. They will not build teams in depth. Everyone that they enroll will simply be a customer. They'll get paid 20%. And remember, that's a 20% based on cash, not on CV, as long as that subscription stays active. And so if you're an influencer, well, then we address your need. What if you are one who, like me, has been building teams for a long period of time? This is a very simple 8 generation unilevel compensation plan with limited structure, easy requirements, easy at least based on my experience and perception. That 8 level unilevel payout is 20% on Gen 1, as I've described, to meet the need of the influencer and those who simply seek to build customer bases as opposed to developing leadership structures. For those seeking to build a leadership structure, then it pays 4% through the next 7 generations. Once again, 4% based on cash, not CV or BV. That would look more like 6.75 or 7 or 7.25% on what you're accustomed to. But when an idea is right, when an idea is right, the market tells you very quickly that it's right. Let me tell you how the market has told me this about this idea. Today is day 13. 12 days ago was the first time anyone outside of the developers heard of this. There were a sum total of 5 people on planet Earth 12 days ago who knew of the impending launch of Lev AI and all that it would be. Today's day 13, folks, and today we've gone over 5,000 participants. 5,000 participants spread by word of mouth over the course of the last handful of days. When a project is right, it develops and it develops fast. We already have people that are 25, 30, and 40 generations removed from the progenitor of a particular vertical progression. What the infinity bonus does is it assures that one true leader, evidenced by the fact that he or she has arrived at the top of the compensation plan, it will not stop payout at the bottom of that 8 generation unilevel. It will pay indefinitely to infinity until it intersects other people who qualify at meaningful ranks in the compensation plan, starting at a 4% infinity, then gradually reducing to a 0 over time. How? As people below you equal your rank, then they will receive the infinity payout. But what has occurred is leader A has been successfully connected and duplicated through leader B. That prevents the leg from collapsing and it creates recurring income for the people who set in motion the pattern of activities. The leverage bonus. This is for each one of us. There's a part that's most important. For me, this is the most important part. Why? Because I have made it a primary focal point to assure that my earnings are predicated upon the earnings of other people, not on their spending and not on their work, but on their earnings. The way the leveraged matching bonus works, it pays you a matching check when anyone in your first 4 generations of your enrollment tree, if they earn a acquisition bonus, you get a matching bonus. If they earn a team commission in the unilevel, you get a matching bonus. If they earn an infinity payout, you get a matching bonus. 4 generations deep, once again, based upon cash. That is I think that's the best way to generate income, when our income is predicated upon the tangible, measurable cash success of other people. And the question that I ask to me and that I extend to you is, are we ready to lead the AI future with Lev AI? Are we simply going to use, like I used a computer when I was shown it, but I didn't become a catalyst to other people's use? I used the internet, but I didn't become a catalyst to other people's use. Lesson learned, folks. Let it be that you join me, that we assemble the finest leadership structure in the history of business. And that as a result of the development of that structure, we lead the AI future with Lev AI. This is a possibility that transcends and is bigger, more lucrative, more exhilarating than anything I've seen. I asked my friend, counterpart, gifted, skilled business leader Larry Lang to join me here. Larry, chime in, clean up any mess I've made, fill in the blanks.
Hey, Randy, you did awesome as always. Yeah, just very excited. Again, I was one of those 5 or 6 people, maybe there were 30 when I found out about it, just a couple of weeks ago. But absolutely, this is the timing. Randy just showed you there's going to be such a big boom in AI. I just reach out to people literally. I ask them if they know about AI, if they want to get educated on AI, and then I literally tell them about this revolutionary company that's about to bring AI to the world, and they can take a free look at it, and then I send them my link. I've got about 122 personals right now. There's two people on this Zoom that have both sponsored over 200 people in this company. I sponsored one of them, and that person sponsored the other one. So what Randy just said, just those two levels alone, that is 400 matches just because I reached out 8 days ago and asked this amazing lady if she wanted to look at something absolutely free, and she did. So two levels, that's 400. Think about what those 400 people did on level three. That could be 1,000. Now those people go down. This is absolutely incredible. When I look at something, the one thing I do probably better than anybody else, I share it with as many people as I can. That is my secret. I get out there and I share it. If people don't take a look right away, I'll circle back around and get them, but I don't slow down for anybody. And I've got a lot of people on here, a lot of incredible people. My guy's sitting there in Thailand. I know he's going to build a huge business. I've got James over in the OC. These are people that I have not been able to work with for a couple of years because I didn't have something global. AI is global. Anywhere they have their twin, we speak English, we want to speak other languages. They speak another language, they want to speak all of our languages. This is something very powerful. But I'm telling you, what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks or less before we launch this thing, you're either going to move or you're not going to move. Because I guarantee you, the lady that signed up 200 people, she's a big networker. There's somebody in that group that you probably know. There's somebody in that group that you should have sent this to before her, and you didn't. And you're going to find more and more of that because, like Randy said, I know my group's almost 4,000. It's coming up. By the end of this weekend, we'll probably have 10,000 people in this company, and it's going to continue to grow. So again, I've always said it, you got to be in the right place at the right time, but you got to take action. I know Terry LaCour personally. Terry is a go-getter. Terry wants to make a big mark, and he knows that AI is going to do that. That's why we're so honored to be here with Terry, because he's going to pull this off in a big way. You don't want to be standing there by yourself and all you did was take a free position. Now when you go to build your army, you're literally going to start reaching out to your generals, and they're already going to be in. So I just want everybody through the weekend, literally send out a free invite. That's all you got to do is say, look, this is AI. This is going to educate you on how to use AI. This is going to educate you on how to use AI to build your business. Nobody is going to say no to a free position. And if they do, you really need to go to the next person. You don't need to be talking to them or wasting any more time. So Randy, I'm just glad to be here, buddy. I thank you so much for all you're doing for the team.
Larry, I'm so glad you're here too, and thank you. Folks, if you have not yet completed that online application, please, please, please reach out now to the person who invited you here and complete it. There is no time like the present. A minute later is a minute too late. And if you are not yet receiving our communications, please also notify them you'd like an invitation to the WhatsApp group so you know what's happening and when, so none of this slips through your fingers. Folks, if I could snap my fingers and cause you to know it like me, you would take a look at the clock and say, this is more important than sleep. And you would invest this next few hours. God bless everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Larry, thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, Randy.